Well, it didn't stop. We released the 5th edition, and the 5th edition had stakeholder management. So by the 5th edition, we finally had 10 knowledge areas. Let's see if I remember them. Scope, schedule, cost. And then we had the business ones, which are what? Quality, risk, and purchasing or procurement. And then the people knowledge areas, which are resources, both physical and human. And then we have communication, how you share information. And then you have stakeholder management. And then you have something called integration management that ties them all together. So we had this by 2004 and 2005 and 2006, we were cleaning it up. Yeah, and stakeholder management came around. Boy, when was it? 2011, 2012? So here we are, and we have a very stable framework. We have a stable guide to the standard, right? And it's aligned with an ISO standard. What are we going to do? Well, now, PMI does not stop. It does all these interesting things in research, and it researches a lot in project management and the value of project management. In fact, if you go over to the website, you can actually look for a communication and a report that puts out every year called the Pulse of the Profession. And they talk about surveying project managers and businesses, and they do this on a regular basis. It's really good data. But they discovered something. They discovered that the march of technology was going quicker and quicker and quicker. And there could be a time where most of what a project manager does is automation, okay? And so they said, if we want to really extend the value of project management and project managers, we'd better start looking at figuring out what we're going to add to project management. But little did they know they didn't have to add anything. All they needed to do, and this happened, what you're looking at here is the talent triangle. They actually released this, and let me see if I can change the color. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. They actually represented this as 3 sides to a triangle. Now, up to now, from the 1950s to 2015, this technical project management was what they knew of, okay? They added a branch called leadership. And they also added a branch called strategic business management. Now, we all know or have an idea of what leadership is, right? It's influencing and motivating and getting people to do things. And it's creating a vision and allowing groups and supporting groups so that they can actually meet that vision and that objective. So leadership is a really natural fit with project management. Business and strategic management you may scratch your head a bit by, but if you think about it, it makes sense. This is a set of knowledge that says if you understand the business and how business makes decisions and how business functions and works, you're going to be a better project manager. You know, it's sort of the context behind what most projects and project management exist. And so PMI, by releasing the 2015 Talent Triangle, said, everyone, you need to spend more time thinking and understanding and learning about business and strategic business components, and you need to really work and invest in leadership and management. And if you want to secure your position, that's the direction we think it's going. Well, this is all well and good. And this actually was automatically changed the way you have to retain your PMP. You don't get your PMP for life, by the way. You only get it for 3 years. And if you want to actually recertify without taking an exam, you go through about 60 hours of professional development every 3 years. And when they released the talent triangle, they said, you no longer get to study or present just on technical project management, right? Scope, schedule, cost, risk, and the others. You need to study on leadership. You need to study on business and business context. And this changed retention of the PMP for people like me who go back year after year and continue to develop, okay? There you go. Well, the 6th edition of the PMBOK came out. And that came out when? Let me get rid of my pen here real quickly. Let's see here. Let's see, there we go. That'll be fine. And what happened was in 2017, the PMBOK totally changed. Now, it didn't change a lot. It's still the PMBOK guide. It's still the standard, and it's still the guide to the standard, project management body of knowledge. Now, what happened was they added a lot of context. For each one of the 10 knowledge areas, instead of just saying this is what it is and this is the way to do it, they started adding for integration management, scope, schedule, and cost management, and risk and quality management. They start saying, here are the things you need to know, right? Here are the top of mind things you need to know, especially if you go into the exam. So right there, they highlighted. And then they said emerging trends, which is, you know, things have been happening in the last 3 to 5 years. And this is what's moving and shaking project management for this knowledge area. And then they said, if you're interested in Agile, here's how Agile impacts this knowledge area. Agile had actually started becoming important back in the early 1980s. There's an interesting book, and if you ask me or ask Ijona, I can give you the name of it. It's called, oh, what is it? The Mythical Man Month, and I forget who the author is. And this was written by a fellow who was early in the software development industry and said projects in software development are very strange and you cannot manage those projects in a similar way. So you have in the 80s and 90s, not just project, but you have Agile project, and a group emerges called the Agile Consortium. Well, little did we know, but between the 5th edition and the 6th edition of the Project Management Body of Knowledge, PMI had been talking with the Agile Consortium, and they had been developing credential. And you can get the PMI ACP, which is a really good Agile credential. But what happened was PMI published, and they have just recently published this, 2017, an Agile practice guide to go with the Agile certification for the Agile certified practitioner. And the PMBOK guide says if you're a project manager and you have to manage these are the things you need to consider. So these things shape the exam, and we started seeing practice questions, and there's a few hints in the exams in the last few years that say, oh, we're talking more about Agile. So we have all these things shaping the PMBOK guide, okay?